Do you have a purple bin?
I have a purple bin. I'm a proper scouser. I'm a proper scouser.
Here you go. I told you.
I think there's a confidence that comes when you get your first belt. You're like, okay, like I've proved now what I was telling myself all along, and now you add another one, and people start believing in. And people are like, oh yeah, it's a brilliant 2022, which it was, but that's also 17 years in the making. It wasn't just, I've turned up in 2022 as a brand new, fresh person. Everything that I've been through before makes me the person that I am. If I don't do 2016, that's me done with boxing. That, to be honest, was probably the hardest decision to make because effectively I was walking away from boxing.
Welcome to the Scouse Code with Olympic Taekwondo medalist Bianca Cook and Paul Garrity. This is the place where we explore the Scouse Code. What does that mean? Well, over the course of the series, we'll speak to well-known athletes and celebrities about their careers, whilst also discussing Scouse culture, their relationship with the city, and why Liverpool is so special. And it won't be just those born in the Merseyside area, we'll have adopted Scousers too. But our first guest is a Scouser born and bred. Natasha Jonas is one of the city's best ever boxers, and 2022 was her best year to date. Bianca and I went to meet her at a boxing gym, and what a story she has to tell. So here we go then, episode 1 of the Scouse Code with Miss GB herself, Natasha Jonas. Enjoy. So welcome to the podcast, Natasha.
Nice one. Thanks for having me.
We're in Gallaghers Gym in Bolton at the moment. Why are you in Bolton?
I've just finished the training session. I come here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the boxing side of things, and Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday I'm doing strength in Liverpool. So
you still live in Liverpool, do you? And then commute over here for those days when you are here?
Yeah. It's only like a little 40-minute drive, so it's not too bad.
Oh, it's similar to you, isn't it? You're based in Manchester, so I mean it's kind of like you both train in different places.
Yeah, like we know where our home is, don't we? But the gym is in a different place because we have to make sure we're in the right one. But first off, this gym is so nice. It's got that rocky vibe about it, and I love that little grit in it. So thanks for letting us come.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at your surroundings at GB Taekwondo, it's very kind of how would you put it, posh?
Well, it's like neat tidy.
Yes,
it's like you need grit and you need some heart. So if we had a little bit more of that in, we couldn't complain.
So you've been in boxing for a number of years now. You've been
too many probably.
But you've
still smashing it though.
But you've seen both sides of the game as well, haven't you? You've seen the amateur side, and you're also seeing now the pro side. Which are you enjoying more, would you say, at the moment?
I've enjoyed them both. I had success and good times in both, but I've also had bad times in both. So I think 2022 has been my best year in boxing so far. But also, qualifying for 2012 and London Olympics was very special as well. So it's hard to decide. It's so different. There might be the same sport that you see, but there's a business element to professional boxing that makes it totally different sides of the game.
So you say you had your best year in 2022. What do you put that down to? Because when athletes get into their 30s and into their late 30s, for example, usually they're on the wind down, but you seem to be on the build up the mountain almost.
You just aged it there, by the way.
Fine wine.
Yeah, like a fine wine.
There
yes,
you go, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I don't know, but, like, people are like, oh, yeah, it's a brilliant 2022, which it was. But that's also, 17 years in the making. It wasn't just, I've turned up in 2022 as a brand new, fresh person. It's everything that I've been through before makes me the person that I am today.
Sometimes it's just like you can do all them years doing it, and then one day it just not clicks. Like I'm not saying it didn't just click, but it just falls into place. That's what sport is so hard sometimes, and has its ups, it has its downs, and you've just showed like you didn't give up. You kept going. You kept not saying like you were going to stop, but you kept going, and you've showed now you're at the peak where people would have doubted you, and you're just like, ha, I told you so. Like, and there's probably still more to come. I reckon.
Well, I'm hoping so. I don't know how I'm going to top last year, but we're trying. We're going to try. But yeah, it's one of them things. I think it's just an accumulation of things. When things are going bad, no one sees that side. They see when you get the belts and they see and they think, or people will just judge you from the time that you're in the ring, and they don't realise there's a whole, 10 weeks training camp or, in an Olympic cycle. You've dedicated your life for 4 years to be in, that moment, and people don't see it. But
I know that's hard, that, because you get judged off one day, and that's like, oh, you really get remembered from that one Like, obviously for us, the Olympics, you do for 4 years, and then people just watch you on that one day, and it's like, well, you haven't seen the highs, the lows before that. So, yeah, it is difficult for that, but just take it as it is now, because you're on that ride and you're on that top, so keep going.
Yeah, I think there's a confidence that comes when you get your first belt. You're like, okay, like I've proved now what I was telling myself all along. And now, like, you know, you add another one, and people start believing in. I think so much of my time I was trying to dedicate to making other people believe how good I was. Yeah. And now I just don't care. I'm like, I know how good I am now. If you want to believe it, you do.
It's
if you
no
don't,
fluke,
you don't.
let's put it that
we
way.
can see the belts literally sitting there. Just as an outline for those who aren't big into boxing and that sort of thing, what are those belts? Can you tell us what
the crown jewels?
Left to right or right to left, as you might see it on the camera. It's the ring belt just means you're number one in the division,
Just like the best of the best. This one's best of the best.
The WBO is the pink one. The blue one is the newest one, the IBF. And some may say the WBC is one of the most prestigious. Yeah, between that and the ring belt, probably.
We love your picture on that one, don't we? We were talking about it before.
They did me dirty. WBC did me dirty.
It was a good angle of it.
But so we talk about the journey. We talk about, you know, you're at this particular space now. It all began in Toxteth. Tell us what life was like for you when you started out, and what were your interests as a kid growing up with, you know, family and so on.
Yeah, I come from a huge family in Toxteth. I was born just before the riot, so there was a lot of unrest in the city. You know, a lot of division. There was, you know, where we grew up, there was a lot of drugs, and it was like a bit of a deprived area. But to me, it was just home. I come from, my mum was very young when she had me. We grew up in my nan's house. I had 2 older boy cousins that like were my heroes. Wherever they did, I did. Wherever they went, I went, and I was their little shadow. And like from that, you just do the things that boys do, which was they could play footy, and that footy was probably my first love of sport. And I wasn't great academically growing up.
I don't think none of us are.
Yeah.
I can attest to that.
But then I always seemed to excel in sports, and that was the only thing I was confident in, and it was the only thing that I believed I was good at. And so my love for sport continued throughout school, and it wasn't until I got an opportunity to go to America on a scholarship to play football that I actually stepped up my academic side in school. And I really did realise in that time that it wasn't that I couldn't do it, it was just that I never had the motivation to do it. Yeah. And sport was the sport was my motivation I knew I wanted to be Mia Hamm. So I knew that I wanted to get to America and play there and be a professional over there, because that's where the scene was at the time. And the only way to do that was to get the academics to do that, so I had to.
What position did you play?
I was a left winger. I'm naturally left-handed, left-footed, so yeah. Me and Keita would be on the opposite side.
I was just going to say, Keita on you on one side, you on the other.
Oh, aye. Deadly duo.
Dream team there, eh?
Oh, aye. We're better than the lads.
Yeah. So what happened then? You've got this love for football. How did that then transition itself into boxing?
I went to America on a scholarship to play football. I was supposed to be there for 4 years. I was there 18 months into my scholarship and got injured. I got injured, snapped me cruciate ligament. And
I've had 2 of them, don't worry about it.
At the time, we're talking 18 years ago now, it was career ending. You was out for a year recovering, and then, it take you a year to get back.
Well, now people recover a lot more quicker because it's
6
more,
months,
you said, it's more common. And even when I did mine back then, it was, oh God, you're not going to be able to come back. But
was yours before the Olympics in 2012?
Mine was 2011, so obviously it was a little bit thing, but it was like, people were like, didn't know what it was. I don't really know how to rehab it, or could this be your last fight? And it changes your mind, and it will change your path, didn't it? So
it totally changed my path. I didn't even finish the uni degree. I came home because I couldn't sit there standing watching my mates play and cheering them on. I was gutted that I couldn't play. I was gutted that my career was over. So I came back home. When I came back home, I'm sitting there, as a 20-year-old, and, Wayne Rooney just gets his debut at 16 for Everton. Yeah. Beth Tweddle has just won her first Commonwealth gold for the gymnastics at 15, I think she was. Kat Johnson-Thompson's like a schoolgirl beating all the records, and I'm like, I'm 21. What am I going to do if I was going to be an athlete? I'd already been it by now. Football was over, and I just, for the first time in my life, I just didn't do anything, and I was still rehabbing from my knee. And like, people don't realise how social sport is. I lost the whole friendship group.
It was that powerful.
Yeah, I lost the whole friendship group. I lost lots of confidence. I put on weight because I didn't do any sports for a year.
Your whole body's just used to training every day and going to sport.
When you stop, you carry on. I love food anyway.
You still got your metabolism from the...
Yeah, I just eat like I was still training, but I wasn't. So I put on a lot of weight, and I wasn't doing any training because I've still got this brace on my knee. And yeah, I think I got sacked from 7 jobs in 1 year, and I got sacked from my last job, and I was like, what is going on? Like, something needs to change. I'm back on my hands. I've got no job. I've got no money. I've got no motivation to even do anything or to like hold the job down. Like, something's got to change. So I said to my uncle, he's got a karate gym. Like, every single Jonas since him has done karate. My little girl does it now. So his gym's got like a running machine, 3 weights in a bag, and I was like, can I use your gym? My knee brace comes off. He said, yeah. So I went and used to just train in the gym for an hour and leave. And there was a woman that used to live over the road that used to watch the gym for him because it was in a little bit of a rough part. And she was like knocked over one day and was like, why are you always training by yourself? I've seen you coming in and out. Who are you? And I was like, it's my uncle's gym. He's given me a set of keys, you know. And she was like, come along to the local gym, which was the Rotunda. And, you know, we've got boxing sessions. I think you'll enjoy it instead of training by yourself. I was thinking to myself, boxing, like, he wants to get punched in the face. I love watching any type of sport. Like, I watch curling, I watch every darts, snooker, everything. But I thought to myself, like, I've watched boxing, so I don't really fancy that. But she bugged me for that long and that hard that I thought, right, she's like,
got to give it a go.
I'm going to go just so that the next time she asks me, I'll be like, yeah, I don't like it. So I went, and God, nearly 18 years ago now, so it wasn't a bad decision.
So you thought, I was just going to say, you enjoyed it then? Is that what you're saying, that first session? Do you remember what that first session was like?
Yeah, I remember. I went into the gym, and like, everyone's got these stereotypes about boxing gyms and about, you know, what's going to happen when you get in a session, and I just automatically thought, I'm going to go in there and get my guard on, get a gum shield and start sparring.
Battered.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. I didn't spar for a good 6 months, I don't think. But yeah, I went, and the next day it was like every part of my body was aching. But I thought, you know what? For the first time in a dead long time, I pushed myself there, and I enjoyed that. You know, being back involved in something like my first bit of sport since leaving football, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back. And obviously I kept on going back.
It's weird, isn't it? Do you think we all like that feeling, that it's like a pain feeling the next day? Like
a pleasure pain.
Yeah, it's like you've got these DOMs and you're thinking, oh, that was a good session, that, because it's worked, it's done its magic. So I know it's like an addiction.
It definitely, yeah, it is an addiction. And the first time that I got into the ring and boxed with the like, it was in like a Adelphi, it's a home club show. Everybody's there from your club, and everyone's screaming, "Go, Natasha!" As I go in the ring, I was like, "Yeah, I like that." And I stopped my opponent in the second round, got out, and some fella was like, "Oh, someone's dad. Oh, you were brilliant there, girl. You know, you should keep that up." And I was like, "Can't believe that's your first fight." I was like, "Oh, yeah." So I was boss.
She's hooked.
Yeah, I was hooked. I've been chasing it ever since.
So going through that process, obviously you were involved in football. You never really taken any notice of boxing up until that point. Did you feel it came easy? Because I'm intrigued about this link that athletes have, that if you're an athlete, you can almost take up anything. Was that the way it was for you?
I'd done a bit of, I've done karate as a kid. I'd done a bit of kickboxing as well, just like going to the gym with my dad and stuff. So I wasn't brand new to punching. It wasn't like something I've never done. Yeah. And then I went to it because I was older. I was 21 by the time, and I've done like the whole football thing. I knew what it took to be an athlete.
Sport, even though you feel like you were older, but you'd had the experience from it.
Yeah,
so you were like a high level.
I wasn't a kid where I was like timid and shy to do anything or try anything. And like I say, I was that kid that when I was playing footy, you know, younger kids would be drinking on the Friday and Saturday night, and I was like, no, I've got football the next day, so I didn't get involved.
Properly,
I didn't, so I
wanted to, but you didn't.
Yeah, I wanted to, but I didn't. But I knew what it took to be an athlete, and so it wasn't that, sacrifice and all them things wasn't brand new to me when I joined boxing. So
you've got into boxing. What was the original journey like for you? Did you find it plain sailing when you got into bouts? Was it winning all the time? How did that go?
I still think to this day, if I remember rightly, I don't think I've been beaten domestically in boxing.
Woo!
As an amateur anyway. Yeah. But yeah, there was just always something that kept me there.
It's always like a goal, like you do one and then you go to something else. You
move the goalpost because you think, well, I've reached that now, so I need to. And not only that, I didn't know what to expect because it wasn't a pathway that I'd ever looked into. Where football, I knew, right, play for the team, get signed by a bigger team, get into the England squad. There's a little bit of a pathway. I didn't know what that looked like in boxing. And to be honest, for females getting into it at that time, there wasn't really a pathway.
Yeah.
There wasn't a goal to reach. And then, I was happy boxing for the Rotunda. I thought that's as good as it's going to get. And then I won an ABAs. So you win an ABAs, then you're the champion of England. So then England, like, right, come to our assessments. Then you start traveling and going to the EUs and the Europeans and the Worlds with England. And I thought, right, great, I've got another top, Jonas, England top. Like, this is as good as it's going to get. 2010, they're like, well, 2009, there's like, it may be an Olympic sport.
Eyes just went.
So I was like, oh, well, okay, I'll stay and see what happens and see how far I can take that. And then 2009, the decision comes. 2010, we've got to make a Team GB, which we've never had before for females.
Course, yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll stay for the assessment and see what
Just
happens.
going along for the ride,
So there wasn't a pathway, there wasn't a plan. There was just it just so happened that every time I thought I'd reached as high as I could go, another opportunity presented itself. And even when I retired from amateurs, which was probably the hardest decision I've had to make because there wasn't a women's professional scene at the time. So when I said bye to the amateurs, I was effectively saying bye to boxing. I went away and had my little girl, and then all of a sudden there was a scene for professional females here.
Well, on that note, you're saying like, oh, you don't know the path, but each thing was unfolding, and you've been like the first of many to start it. Like you were the first one to compete at the Olympics. You were the first Miss GB. Like you went to London 2012 Olympics, and you made history just being there alone. Then you come out, you say like, now professional boxing is this big. You're the first again to do all these things, and it's not just unfolding, you're starting it off as well, not just like, you haven't made this path, but this path's basically made you because it's opened so many doors for you.
Oh, it's opened loads of doors, and people always say, like, would you let your daughter box? And I would like her to do another sport, but for the opportunities that it's given me and for the way that it's treated me, then like I'd be silly to say no. I'd be silly to say no.
But looking at the first 5 years, it was a really good competitive 5 years for you when you got into boxing, and the first 5 years, did you win a number of belts at that particular time? That was how successful you were getting, wasn't it?
In the amateurs or in the pros?
Amateurs,
In the amateurs, I won the first 5 ABAs. I started at 72 kilos as well, and then went all the way down. And obviously the Olympics was
just losing weight.
Yeah. So I think I won it at 72, 69, 66, 64, 60.
That would have taken some dedication to do that, wouldn't it?
You just trained and dropped it off and stopped eating something.
As I say, because I'd put on a lot of weight after retiring from football and coming back, then I was just gradually losing the weight, and then I was happy at 64. I thought, this is perfect. Like I can't get any lower. And they were like, well, the Olympics is at 60. So I was like,
okay, an extra 4 kilos.
Yeah, I know. So it was either, because of the first Olympic, there was only 3 weight categories, which was 51, 60, and 75. And obviously we had the likes of Savannah Marshall, who at 75 kilos, who's a lot bigger in stature, taller, and physically stronger at the weight. And I thought, there's no chance I can compete with the likes of her on a physicality scale. So obviously the smart thing to do was to drop they're 4 kilos.
Exactly.
It seemed like the smart thing
Well,
to
then
do
you've
at
got
the
the
time.
complete team then, have you? Like, looking through a Team GB point, like, they want to get every weight as well. So you went with the strongest team as well. So
Yeah.
obviously that 4 kilos for you was a bit, but it actually was really good for Team GB as well
Yeah,
to have
yeah.
all the best of us in each weight. So
I think there was only ourselves as Team GB and Russia that qualified their whole teams out.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
good. It's interesting.
But looking at the stats, correct me if I'm wrong, right? You were the first GB female boxer to box for GB in 2009, that right?
Yep.
And then you won gold at the Amateur Championships at the Echo Arena in 2010.
Yeah.
Whoa.
How did that feel?
Oh, it was good because it was in the Echo Arena at the time. It's now called the M&S, I think.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah.
Keeps changing
it's in
names, but
Liverpool.
anyway,
It's
at the
It's
arena
just
on
the
the
Echo,
dock.
yeah, it'll always be the Echo.
Yeah.
That was great. It was like, I think it was against Amanda Coulson.
Mm.
And there was always been a rivalry. She was obviously one of the people on GB that was, it was me, her, Chantel and Ruth Raper at one stage. So it was always like who goes and, who's the best. And then, I beat her in the ABAs twice, and then I beat her in the GB
Do you
Championship.
still speak to them all now, or did they like say, how are you doing, or?
Yeah, probably, even though we was the biggest rivals, Amanda was probably one of the boxers I was closest to.
Yeah.
And when we got the nod to go to the qualifiers, she was one of the first to say, like, look, I'm not going, but make sure you go and qualify for us, and like, good luck. And sometimes even on GB, when I needed her to lose, I'd be the loudest one cheering, and vice versa for her as well.
It's like a respect thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
You know
You
what
can't-
they've gone through, you know what we've gone through. You can't hate no
Yeah,
one.
you
It's
can't
just,
hate no one.
but you respect what we're doing. So
What we're seeing here is we're seeing a little bit of a pattern that you've left football, you've gone into boxing, you've taken to it quite easily. You're winning belts, you're winning bouts, you're winning big fights, even in
World
probably
titles,
well,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. You're doing this on what we would probably consider to be in Liverpool, probably the biggest stage you will ever fight in. Correct me if I'm wrong. To do it in the city. You then get the chance to go to the Olympics because you qualify. And then you become the first female boxer to compete for GB at an Olympics.
Qualify, compete, and win.
That's what. Woo! Yeah, exactly. So this is trailblazing territory. You know what I mean? This isn't just a run-of-the-mill, oh yeah, I got into boxing, did all right at it. This is trailblazing territory. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's a proud moment because, like, when you're the first of something, you can never take it away. But when I qualified, my mum told me a story of when I was 4, watching the 88 games in Seoul, saying, Mum, I'm going to be there. And she was like, obviously I'm 4 and then whatever, love.
keep dreaming, girl.
Yeah. So when I came back on the flight and got to Manchester Airport, like literally the whole family turned out and was like cheering us all the way through. And my mum was just crying, and I was like, Mum, what are you crying for? And she was like, I remember you being that little girl. You've done about 3 million different sports that I've took you to and everything. And like 24 years later, you've actually made that dream come true. So that was a lovely moment to have with my mum. So I think like that was a big moment.
Were you nervous ahead of that big fight? Because it's in London. There's a lot of build up to it. Was that nerves? Was that you mentioned pride there?
It's what you do.
The Olympic Games, isn't it? It's pinnacle.
For every amateur sport, it's massive. But I'm comfortable in the boxing ring because I've done it a million times before. That's my, I think Beyonce talks about, Sasha Fierce and alter ego. When I step into that boxing ring, I'm somebody else, and then I get out and I might be a little bit, Yeah, when you're doing the interviews, I'm like, But when I'm in the boxing ring, I feel like I can express myself and I can be whoever I want to be.
Was that the same for you though, Bianca?
Yeah.
When you get the chance to go to an Olympics.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's not just Olympics. It's just being in the ring. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
When you step onto that mat or go in the ring, you feel free. You've done this all the time. That's more automatic than just probably doing an interview or doing something else. So when you're there, it's your chance to just let loose and be free. And I think that's what you're never nervous from that. You're always nervous before it, thinking, can I just let myself go? Do you know what I mean? And be the best version of myself. So, yeah.
As an athlete as well, I think you're always, like, I messaged everyone in the 2016 and the 2020 or 2021 or whatever it ended up being to say, like, you're always so focused on the result that you never enjoy the moment. And it's only now when I look back that I think that was a posh moment, that, you know what I mean? But because you're so focus driven and on the result and everything's towards the result, that sometimes you forget to experience and enjoy the moment.
But you train that though, aren't you? You're trained to have that tunnel vision when you're in the moment, because if you try and take it all in at the same time, it's just going to be too overwhelming. Sure.
But there's levels though, I know what you mean. Like you've got to be tunnel vision, but if you'd actually just relaxed and enjoyed it, you'd probably come out a better version of yourself anyway, because you don't want to regret not taking it all in. At the end of the day, you're an Olympian, you've came there. People would be, they'd love to be in that position. So yeah, we've got to try and keep doing that now, but we still probably don't do it.
You have all of this adulation, you have all of this celebration, and then you meet Katie Taylor in the quarterfinals. Doesn't go your way. Do you go from one end of the scale to the other, given the journey that you've been on to that point?
That was that's one of the experiences that I wished I'd enjoyed better, because I didn't get a medal, but I come out with an Olympic record because we got the loudest noise at the games. Yeah. So the atmosphere and everything in there was unreal. It was like my coach he's been an amateur coach, he's been a professional coach, been in Bellew's corner when he's fought Adonis Stevenson. He said, I have never ever experienced an atmosphere like that. That was special, and he's been, watching boxing and students of boxing his whole life. So, and I did get it, but I didn't experience it the way he did, because I was so focused on the result. And then they're the dark sides of sport. So when I came off, I'm doing, half an hour of interviews. How do you feel? I'm gutted I lost, and, good luck to Katie.
Those media people are horrible, aren't they?
Good luck to Katie, I wish her well. And as soon as the cameras are off, I go and do my drugs test, and I literally, this was no word of a lie, I cried for the whole day. I was watching it. I'd watched the highlights of the day, and I'm sitting in the room, and I was crying, and then it got to about 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd stop crying, and then
someone would say you're all right.
I laid down like that on the couch. I just stayed on the couch, and then an old tear was still in my duct and fell down, and it fell down on me, and then started crying again. So I phoned my mum at 7 o'clock in the morning, because they was all in London. I was like, Mum, I think I phoned her at 6. I said, Mum, where are you? I need to get out of this village and just need to get out. Went and see my mum, went and see some of my family. But when I came back into professionals, the first 2 people I phoned was my mum and my cousin, because they see that side. Yeah. And they were like, if you, don't worry about the baby. If you believe it and you want it and you can dedicate what you need to be, we're 100% support you, and you don't need to worry about the baby. And I asked them that because I know that they know the other side. If I would have just asked anybody, people don't know it, and they're just like, yeah, go on, everybody's easy. You'll smash that, and just don't know what it takes to be there.
Or what you feel like. The highs are high and the lows are low. It's not, you'll never get it in just a normal day-to-day thing, but with sport, it can take you to the peaks and the lows. It is crazy. You're chasing them highs, and they are an addiction. Sometimes I sit there and even now you probably think, and you can still feel it. I still sometimes look back and think things I've done, and you can remember the feeling. It doesn't go away. It stays with you forever. But that's what can help motivate you, or make you commit, or remember you don't want to feel like this again, or use it to help you go forward. And you clearly did.
But when you look back at that situation, you're going out to the Olympics and whatnot. How do you reframe that situation now then?
I remember sitting in the chair at the end of round 3, and I don't even know what the score was, but I was maybe 5 points down, and I thought, right, I can be happy here that I'm just 5 points down, because everyone gets beat by Katie Taylor by 20 points or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like, I can be happy that I'm 5 points down, or I can just go for it. And whatever happens, but you've given everything then. So I was sitting there, and coaches giving me the instructions.
Don't even listen. You're not even listening to them.
I totally wasn't listening. And, you need to do this. And I'm just thinking, what do I do? And the bell went, I went, fuck it, I just do it. You know what I mean? I'll just go and see what happens. And that's what I did. So when it went and it lost, when I was doing them interviews, I was like there was nothing else I could give, and I can live with myself for that, because I couldn't have done any more. And sometimes, like, you'll come out of it thinking, you're in boxing at the time, it was point scoring, and I think, I've lost by points and I could have done better there. And then you'll be annoyed with yourself because you still had a little bit left. Yeah. But at that fight, I knew I didn't have anything left to give. So that's why
I think we could all see that, you know what I mean? You give everything you got. You had the heart of a lion no matter what. So that people don't not see. That's not always about the point. The people who see that, we can see that you went for it all the time. And then, obviously, I'm skipping a forward, but the rematch that you had in the pro was probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. Like, the heart from it was unreal. Like, I know how it didn't go, but for me, that was inspired and just watching, because it was like, took the whole girls' game to a whole nother level. So sometimes sport, we watch it and you all watch for the winner, but it's not what just wins, it's entertaining, and that was entertaining.
We're in the entertainment business. It's the moment, it's the whole package of what you're getting. So yeah,
the unknown, that was what it was.
Yeah.
So.
Just finally on the Olympics, can you believe that it was 11 years ago?
Tom phoned me the other day. Tom Stalker was our team captain at the time. Me and Tom are dead close now still. And he sent me through a picture, and like, on the picture I look about 12.
Baby face.
I'm like, what happened?
You still look young now. You're talking about
what's happened there?
I totally agree with you.
Tom's got a full like hairline. Like, Tom, what's happening? Look at us. Like, but yeah, it's and like you say, when you look back at the pictures, or someone told me to keep a video diary, and at the time I was like, yeah, it's the day, and this is it. I didn't want to do it, but now when I look back, I get.
You actually did it.
I get them feelings.
Did you get it? Did you do the?
Yeah, I did the video diary, and I get them feelings, and I can remember exactly what I was thinking, and exactly what I was feeling, and I get the little goosebumps. I'm like, oh, that was Boxer.
Yeah.
So.
So you've been to an Olympics. You've had a really good amateur career. Tell us the reasons then for retiring. What was the main thing? Was it just because you wanted to have your daughter? What was the thought processes?
So I went to the Commonwealth Games, and I got injured and snapped my leg. It was just a freak fall. I fell back funny on my toe, and I snapped my ligament in my toe. So that meant, again, rehabilitation and all that stuff. But it meant that I missed the qualifiers for 2016. Now, I never envisaged that I'd be still boxing in 2020. So I was like, if I don't do 2016, that's me done with boxing. And that, to be honest, was probably the hardest decision to make, because effectively, like I said, there was no pro scene at the time. I was walking away from boxing, and it took a long time to come to that. But eventually I made the decision to go. And I was 30, I think 30, 31. I was getting at that time where I was thinking, right, I do need to have a kid.
I know I'm thinking I might have to have one soon.
Yeah, but it's a big decision to make, though, isn't it? Especially when you've done so well in it. Was it a mixture of emotions at that particular time?
It was just heartbreak, because I stayed after 2012 because I believed genuinely that I was good enough to win a medal, and it was just unfortunate. Sometimes in sport you need a bit of luck, and I didn't get a luck. So I knew that I was good enough to win a medal, so I stayed. And then to have that happen, it was just like, it was like the football all over again.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But the thing, like, I bet at the time you were like, I've actually still done so much in the amateur career. I know, like, you'll never want to retire, nothing's ever good enough and stuff, but I bet a lot of people did say, like, you've still done enough, and you've made a good career, you've made a history. So it was probably like, oh, okay, maybe I could. There was probably never a bit of satisfaction to be like, you know what, I could retire now, like, and have your family.
I think about that now. But at the time, it was like it was taken away again. It was like the whole football experience where it was out of my control.
Because you got injured.
Because I got injured, yeah. So it was like, it was a harder pill to swallow. And because of the way the Commonwealth had come away without a medal as well, I was heartbroken about that it all happened at once.
Pains.
Like every time I get to that big stage, like it's not happening for me. So yeah, it was tough. It was a tough decision to make.
Okay, you've made the decision to retire. What was your next thing going to be then? Because looking back at your history, football didn't work out because of injury. Boxing then probably wasn't going to work out because of injury. And so what was the future going to be like for Natasha Jonas in that space and time?
Got them 7 jobs again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it was.
I knew because boxing had been such a big part of my life for so long, it's difficult to just walk away from. So I was going back and doing, some sessions in the amateur gym. I was doing work for Sky Sports on a community and school program where we'd go into schools and do boxing sessions and give motivational talks. So I was doing all that. I was working self-employed really. I was just doing my own freelance stuff. Yeah. Sometimes Sky would get me in to do comms for the boxing on shows. And I was fitting everything around what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it.
In effect, you were like living in the moment. That's what you were doing. You're just living day to day, just kind of seeing how things go. Because we've spoken before about kind of being an athlete, haven't we? And there's always a plan. It doesn't matter whether there's a fight, there's a plan. Training, there's a plan.
Well, there's always a goal. There's always something you have to achieve after. So like even if you do training, you've got to train the next day. You've got to do this for tomorrow. You've got to do this for the next comp. There's always something coming up.
Was that an adjustment then to go from that type of lifestyle to a lifestyle of just I'll just take things, take things as they come?
So I always thought the routine is what I hated. I hated that I got up and I had to
I'm going to miss it, yeah.
Yeah, I hated that I got up at 7 o'clock and had to stand on the scales. I hated it. And then I hated knowing that 8 o'clock, 8:30 I was on the track and doing whatever track run. Then I hated that I had to come back and have my breakfast, and then I hated that I had to go back to the gym at like 12 o'clock and do strength and conditioning, and then go back for my lunch at 1, and then go back to the gym at 3, and then go back to have my tea, and then go back. I hated that every day, Monday to Thursday, sometimes Friday. That was my week at the EIS in Sheffield. That was the way the week was planned, and I always thought to myself, the day that I finish boxing, I'm going to smash these scales. I'm going to have a scale smashing ceremony where I just get
never get on again at 7 o'clock.
Slam them on the floor, and I did for a good month. I was like, right, get up where I want, and then I was getting up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I could. I was thinking, wasted my day. Yeah. It was just a waste of like a day, and like what you do at 1 o'clock with the day. So it took a lot of adjustments. One of the biggest ones as well. I felt was that, even when I go to the boxing thing, I was like, I wasn't the boxer anymore. I was just Tasha. And I struggled with that for a little bit because it was like, all this time,
the lights.
And as the athlete, and you're Bianca Cook, and you're an Olympian, you're this, you're that, and people are giving you all these labels and all these titles, and I was just Tasha. It's just Tasha.
It hurts.
It does, because it's like a bit of a, I don't want to say status, but it is. And I was...
Well, it's an identity, isn't it? You've known for boxing all that time, and now it's like, oh, you don't do it anymore.
Yeah, I don't do it, so I'm just...
Now what you do?
Plain old Tash.
Getting up at 1:30 every day.
Yeah. So I struggled, and then I had my little girl, and then I
did your world change when that moment happened?
Definitely.
Was that a spurring moment for you to have a bit of a plan again?
Again, with when you talk about the IBF Light, everyone talks about the good stuff, and they don't talk about the downsides. They don't talk about the sacrifices that you have to make and all the things you miss out on. And with motherhood, it was exactly the same. Like, I come from a huge family. There's 2 kids born in our family every year, and I've always been around kids.
In fact, I remember seeing something on your Instagram recently. Did you have all the kids over for a sleepover? There must have been about, I don't know, there's hundreds of kids.
School full.
A baker's dozen. If you have one kid in our family, you may as well just have them all. We all entertain each other, it's fine. But it was the same with motherhood. It's like, I expected all these great things, and you get, you're gonna, you be your mum, and this happens, and
all the good stuff for people.
All the good stuff, but then I was just tipped upside down because I was responsible for this new human, and the first month I don't think I slept because is she breathing? Is her chest moving? Okay, she's breathing, and then and you take on so much information and what's good for the baby, and your nan tells you stuff, the midwife tells you stuff, your mum tells you stuff, your cousin who's just had a baby tells you stuff, your best mate's telling you stuff, and I'm like, it was a lot of information to take, and it was a little bit overwhelming, and then lack of sleep, and sleep when the baby sleeps. okay, so I'll do
true.
the dishes when the baby does the dishes, and I'll do the washing when the baby does the washing. It's just things that you just can't do. It's impossible. So yeah, to come around to that, and then to obviously still be you and have time for you it's tough. Yeah. It was hard. It was a
selling me this, you know.
Exactly.
Having a few kids soon.
If Aaron has any hopes of having kids, you definitely.
I'll lend you mine for the weekend. See if you still want one then. But yeah, it's a big adjustment, and eventually, what I will say is that you find your own way, and you find a way that works for you, and you know everything does settle down, and then obviously
you got a routine now.
I got a routine. She got a routine more than anything, and once she was in a routine, then I was back to having all this time. I was like, oh, what do I do now? And then I got the opportunity to go professional, and the story starts and yes.
Just before we go to the returning back to, because I'm intrigued as to the process to get you back in the ring again after what happened at the end of your amateur career. What does being a mum mean to you now, these years later? Because how old is...
She's 7 now, Mila, yeah.
And is it...
Mila, yeah.
Mila, so she's 7 now, so she's got her own personality.
Oh,
gosh. Is she like you?
She said before, she's 7 going on 17.
She is 100%, yeah.
Because I know Nikita as well, you see, so it's kind of like, if anything to do with, either you or Nikita, she's going to be 7 going on 24 probably.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Listen, she's not interested in anything I do, but she absolutely loves our Nikita. So when we was going to watch her in the Euros and in the World Cup before that, she's like, Mum, I want to be a football player like Auntie Nikita. I was like, a bit disrespectful, but okay.
I am your mum, but you know.
Yeah. So I was made up because it was a sport that I like. I ran out, bought her shinnies, bought her the boots, bought her the whole thing. A couple of weeks into, she's like, Mum, it's cold.
Only in the summer.
Yeah, I just want to be a football player in the summer. But it's great that she has two females in male-dominated sports to look up to, and even within our family, massive. They say like, oh, I want to play footy like Nikita, or I want to be able to box like Natasha, and it's not a male that they refer to. So that's really good. But for her, for me and her, I feel like when I was saying before about the show being focus driven, and on the result, everything was about the result. When I was in the amateur side, if I used to have a bad spar, or I'd go to a tournament and didn't win a medal, like that would wreck me whole month until I went back to the next tournament, or until I'd rectified it and gone back and sparred better. But as a mum, as soon as I leave this gym and walk through the door of the house, I've just got to be a mum.
Yes.
So it now gives me that switch off that I feel that
is the best thing.
Is the best thing, because it
can
bogs you down. It bogs you down.
It's like poison sometimes. Like
100%.
You probably did well, but you thought you did bad, and then you could be written off all day.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, did terrible.
And people don't realise, like, obviously physically you've got to be at your peak, but sometimes sport is mentally so hard. Like 90%, I'd say, of boxing is mental, and you can win or lose it just by ear. And I don't know if that's
it's the one to break, and if you crack, then that's where you've lost, not where you've won.
I think I prefer fatherhood, to be honest with you, to what you're actually saying to me here about breaking and cracking and everything else. But so you've now got a little family. You've got this. I would say I'm looking at it, and it's quite rosy and it's quite nice. And then all of a sudden you decide to come back into boxing. So what made you leave, if you like, family life, not family life altogether, but share family life with a return to boxing?
Sky got me down to do the commentary for Katie Taylor's debut. And like, Tom Stalker phoned me up after it. He was like, I've just seen you. You've done really well. You spoke well. You'll have more of that stuff. And I was like, yeah. He was like, I think women's boxing on the professional side will come big now that she's in it. So you've got that, that thing, you've got history. Wouldn't you think about getting back into it? I'm like, shut up, Tom. I'm 2 stone over my boxing weight. I'm doing like little, the Rotunda has classes. I'm doing 2 classes a week, thinking that I'm still,
fun.
thinking that
got it.
I've still got it, just showing them that I've still got it when I want to. But obviously nothing of that level or anything. And then, yeah, I was like, shut up, Tom, shut up. Put the phone down. And I was thinking, what is actually stopping me? The baby's in a routine. I'm self-employed, so I can work my training around whatever I wanted to do. So that's when I said, phone my mum. I was like, Mum, what do you think about this?
What do you reckon?
What do you reckon? She was like, don't worry about your support. Yeah, don't worry about the baby. The baby's not an issue. Like, you got to give it 110%. Can you do it? You know what it takes and where can you do it?
She made your mind up for you.
Can you go through that again? I was like, yeah, okay. Puts the phone down to my mum, phones my cousin. My cousin says exactly the same. I'm like, sound. Puts the phone down, phones Tom back. I'm like, Tom, what do I have to do?
Can we just thank Tommy for bringing her back?
Yes, 100%. Well, imagine what we would have missed out on.
I know.
So Tom's like, you need a manager, you need a trainer. So I was like, okay. So I went away and thought about all the good trainers and come up with a list of 5 trainers. And then my deciding factor was who is tough. Someone who, because I was totally out. I've not boxed now for 2-3 years.
So how old are you at this particular point?
I am, it's 2015.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, at this point?
6 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
So,
32.
Yeah, 32.
Quick maths.
I know. Thank God you did it,
yeah,
not
exactly,
me.
yeah.
I'm still like that, counting on my fingers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was thinking, right, who's took someone from like not a good person and made them better, but someone who's people have said are this level, and I've moved them to world level, because I'm not the boxer that I was. I knew that because I've been out for so long. And I came up with Joe the night. Joe made the short list. So I sent him
the list there, Joe.
I already knew him, obviously, because the Smiths were all here. So I knew him anyway, and he'd come to GB sometimes to do some sparring with the GB lads. So I sent him a message. I was like, Joe, I'm thinking about getting back into boxing. I'm like looking for the trainer. And he was like, I'm away at the minute. This is over Instagram, I think it was, or Twitter. I'm away at the minute in Spain. I'll message you when I'm back. I was like, okay, sound. And then he messaged
like that,
me.
waiting.
When did he say? Keep looking. And then he messaged me and said, just, come for a trial. He said, you might not be the person for me. I might not be the person for you. Come for a trial. And it was like walking into the rotunda. I just felt at home, obviously. Just the lads, all the lads I knew Crawler from being around the circles. Boxing's only a very small circle, so whether amateur or pro, you probably know a lot of people anyway. So I knew them, and as much as he shouted at me, nothing's changed now. He still shouts at me now. We got on well, and we worked and we gelled. Yeah.
What's it like for you though, being in your 30s, doing all of this, almost starting again, if you like? It's a new chapter in your career. Yeah,
it was. To get back. Because there's being fit, and then there's being boxing fit, which are 2 different types of fit. So I thought,
like ring fit, innit?
Yeah. I was getting on the treadmill. I couldn't do my times that I was doing on GB, but I could still get near them, which, I wasn't competing, I wasn't doing anything. I thought, I'm fit. And then I came back and tried to spar, and I was like,
different kind of spar.
I'm like, okay, my timing's a little off. So that was it was different. But once I got myself back to that like fitness and worked my body to where and my mind, it was like I never left.
Do you remember the first, if you like, ring walk that you did and the first fight that you had as a professional? Does that stick in your head?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a Newcastle show.
Yes, it was.
And I was in the change rooms and getting ready, and everyone in the fight, like, you just want to, especially on your debut, you want to either stop the person or you want to do well.
You want to show off, don't you? Like,
this is a business. You're entertaining people. You want to put your best foot forward, and I went out and tried to do that.
Is it the same type of feeling for you when you go out every time? Because you're not competing every week. It's similar to boxing. You have events throughout the year. Is that exciting?
No, it's a little bit different, like, because we're competing all the time. There's like 5 fights in one day. But obviously, when you get to the major ones, you want to perform. You want to win in style. At the end of the day, like, you want to just win. So make sure you win the fight, especially when it's on points. So, but yeah, when you go to like events and you know people are watching, you always want to end it with a good kick, a big spin, or a nice way with someone that remembers it, because there's that many fights, that many kicks in that one day. You've got to show off something. So
Stand out.
Exactly, but you can't do that without jeopardizing winning as well. So you've got to have that mindset. Number one is to win, and then if you can do a little show off at the side, then.
Did you have that sort of mentality as well, kind of? Because you can win, but you can win with style. You know what?
Sometimes you don't plan it though,
No.
and if
Just
you can
happens,
win,
yeah. The opportunity
they're the
comes.
best moments. That's when you fight the best, when you relax and you can't remember it, but you've done something special.
Because the image I had in my head then was Meatball Mall in UFC. You know, where
With
you
the
kind
spinning
of with the
elbows.
spinning elbows
Yeah.
sort of thing. You know, that's kind of her almost signature move now.
But she might have not have planned that.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's
She might have
sometimes
just-
it's
and then
instinct, doesn't
just
it?
go off it,
And
yeah.
and you are both, all three of you are in like instinctive sports. You taekwondo, you boxing, her in UFC, MMA. So is do you sometimes have to live on those instincts when you're competing?
Yeah, because it's everything split seconds, and you can have situations, but they'll never ever be exactly identical. So a situation will always be a little bit different, but you've got to adapt to the situation that you're in at that time and react and respond accordingly. So it's
Probably the biggest skill is
yeah.
adapting in the situation. Like you plan every situation, you try and do every kick, stance, whatever, punch, spar, but you get hit and then it all changes, or you hit them and it all changes. So you've got to be reactive and proactive on it. So
Well, it certainly worked, because looking at your pro record, 13 wins, 2 defeats and a draw. That's pretty good in any.
and all these beautiful belts.
And all these belts that are alongside us. So you look at that. It was an amazing decision to come back, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just
Do you reckon you wish you didn't do it now? Or?
sometimes it's when Joe's shouting at me sometimes. But yeah, no, it was like I say, because of the way it ended on the amateur, I felt like as good as my career was, there was something unfinished about it. Maybe I was thinking maybe it was the Commonwealth medal, maybe it was the Olympic one, but there was something that as good as it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So I couldn't finish like that. And even in the defeat, when I got an unexpected defeat against Obanov on my journey to these belts, it was like, when I went away, I was thinking, right, it's over. Like, obviously, I've come back. I'm not the boxer that I thought I was, because I should be beating people like that, you know. Doubt keeps in, and, you know, again, people, you know, you're brilliant, you're rubbish. What did she say? I'm rubbish.
Delete.
Yeah, you go back and you start believing them. People that say, you know, you're too old, you know, you've lost it, you're not that same boxer. All them things start, and then they creep in, and I was like, okay. And then when I went away to my brother's wedding in Australia, I was there for like 2 months. And when I came back, I was like, no, I can't let it finish like that. And that's, again, that thing, the same with football, the same with, you know, the amateur boxing, the same thing. I just can't let it finish like that. And like, that's where they are now. So it was a good decision to come back and do it.
We touched upon it before, and you've just said there about it being a good decision. What do you put, you know, because the reality is you are 38. You're in.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
said it like
Yeah,
3
yeah,
times.
yeah.
No,
We both fight. We could take you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. You can both mince
Don't
me to
bring
me.
an age of-
For me, it's just the achievement of doing what you've done. The age isn't a factor in any of this. And I think, you know, if you're in the best form of your career at that age, and let's face it, this field that you're in is such a it's the most competitive field there's been, I would have thought, in women's boxing. So it's kind of like, what you put that down to?
I think after the first one, after the WBO, I think everything's a bonus, and I think it shows now when I fight. Is like,
Enjoying it.
I enjoy it. I totally enjoy it. Like I say, it's just everything that come after that now is like it's just a bonus. I just feel like I actually proved by winning that what I was been saying all along, that I was good enough, that I wasn't old, that I was this.
You ain't no fluke. Let's put it that way.
Like that's it was what it was, and now I just like I go out and I enjoy it. I express myself. I live in the moment, and whatever happens, happens. And I think the whole stress of trying to prove everybody right and the right people right and the wrong people wrong has gone, and I just go out and just fight.
I think like personally for me, like you deserve this though. Like you've showed the way. You've been the one that we all watch, the Queen of the Sea of Liverpool, and you deserve this. It is a chance, and I'm glad that it's all came because you've put the work and you've put the graft in. You're still going, and I don't think it's the end just yet. So no matter the number or how old we all are, but keep going because this is a credit to yourself and what you've achieved.
Nice one, thank you.
So you're coming from a sporting family. You've got your sister Nikita. Now you've touched upon it before that football's a big thing. Do you have a sporting family? Is that what you consider yourselves to be?
Yeah, my uncle's represented Great Britain in karate. I've got 2 professional bodybuilders, my uncle and my cousin. I've got a little niece that plays for Everton girls. I've got a nephew that's signed his first professional contract with Liverpool. I've got 2 other nephews that are in the Blackpool set up. They're on their books, on their pathway to sport. So yeah, and a mum who's never let me win. So yeah.
No, you've got a great family. Like you're doing something right there. Your whole family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But because I've watched Nikita as she's gone through her career. Because I remember speaking to Mo Marley as Nikita was coming through into the Everton team, and she said, poetic license given, that she could be anything that she wanted to be when she was younger. And I'm assuming that when you hear things like that, does Nikita's career have an effect on you as well? Do you both play off each other?
I think in the sense of just like a bit of motivation from each other, and we can speak about the things that, not everyone will know about. Like, we've got other brothers and sisters, but asking them about how does it feel? Yeah, and how do you come back from this? And they can't give them life experience because they haven't got them. But we can just talk like, I had a bad game, like, what can I do? And we can have them conversations because it's hard to be comfortable enough around people to have that, especially sometimes against people you're competing against.
And because sometimes we always have to put like a hard shell on and be like, if you've had a bad day, well, just get over it. No, you've got to let it out a little bit to step forward, to understand why, to then improve. So it's nice that you've got your sister to say it at that high level as well. It's not like amateur level, it's like full-on professional, high, world-class level. So I'd love something like that.
What was it like watching her win the Euros in the summer with England?
Do you know what? I wasn't ready for the emotions of it.
I think the whole of the world didn't. The whole UK didn't.
When I'm in the ring, I can control what I can control, and it's on me. But when she's there, or even at the weekend watching Liam, when I've got no control over it, I'm like, get the ball.
Yeah.
And I get stressed, I get panicked, I get all these, I get anxious, I get all these things, feelings that I don't get when I'm competing. So it was great, but it's brilliant for me little girl because Nikita's and when she comes, she's like, when I looked at her phone as well one day, and it was a couple of days before the semi-final. And I seen Kita. I was like, you better stop phoning in now.
She's on a wallpaper.
I phoned Kita. I was like, look, I'm so sorry if she's been phoning. I've only just seen her phone. And she was like, I can't believe that, like the way she holds a conversation. She was on the phone for about 10 minutes having a full-blown conversation with me. I was like, little cow. Cow.
Which obviously gets the gift of the gab from somewhere, because you've been in the media for a while. Did you study media studies? Is that what you did?
I did.
So was this
I've never actually got a qualification for it because I've been to uni twice and not finished.
So we started it.
You've always had that vision, though, that media is there and.
Yeah, all different sides. I think I've done advertising on one side and film and studies on another, and I've done little.
Well, you're definitely going down that path now. You're one of the Sky Sports commentary and part of the team, and we all see you on there and commentating and everything and interviewing, and you're smashing it. So yeah.
But do you plan to continue doing that post boxing? I mean, I'm not trying to end your boxing career now, but it's like, is that something that you want to keep going, because you've been doing it now for a long time?
Yeah, it's something I'm comfortable doing on the big, nights that you can't be involved in. You're still involved with, and I'm just talking about what I know, saying what I see. Yeah, and critiquing everyone else's performance instead of me own. So that's always,
You did
always a
terrible.
plus.
We spoke about you being a trailblazer as well, and being a mom and all of those things. But where do you think women's boxing is now? Where do you think the sport is? Because for me, it's only going one way, and that's up.
Yeah, I think women's sport's massive at the moment. We've got the platforms, and visibility is key for anything. And there's little girls seeing it on all levels. You've got big companies investing, financial support in it. And yeah, there's still a long way to go, but we're definitely heading in the right direction. You asked Jane Couch about professional boxing when she was doing it, and taking the boxing board of control to court to even be allowed to do it as a profession. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Now look at you selling out arenas.
Exactly, 2.8 million, I think, Savin Callisis. So all them things that people were saying when it first turned over, it doesn't sell, it's not popular, it's not entertaining, we're not this, we're not that. We've broke all them barriers down, and maybe in 10 years' time when we're watching the sport now, that it's come on tenfold, and we're not having this. Oh, it's female boxing, it's this, it'll just be boxing. And
well, you've proved that the whole women's thing has proved it wrong, and you just got to we've got to keep doing that and keep pushing it more, because
once you've got that crest of the wave, you've got to keep riding it and making it better. And I think maybe because there isn't the same financial things as the men, that them females, the good female fights are easier to make. And women, you get one belt and that's enough for some men, and the women are like, nah, we want them all.
I want 4.
Yeah, we want them all.
5.
Well, we are running out of time, but just quickly, you've done all this and you're a scouser. It'd be amiss of me not to actually say on the
It's
Scouse,
the reason why we're doing it on the Scouse Code.
podcast, you know what I mean, to actually speak to you. How proud does that make you as a scouser doing that?
I think, for me, and I know people are going to say, but for me, it's the greatest city in the world.
She ain't wrong there. She ain't
Correct.
It is. It's home. It's and I think we've got that. We've got something inside the Scousers where we're a hard shell to crack, and but once we took it under the wing, you're one of those, and we want to see you do well. And the city as a whole, as we have bad things, but we come together when we need to, and we make things work when we need to, and it's a testament to the people before us and the people that have come after us. We're just different. We're built different.
Were you given that by your parents though? Is that something that was ingrained in you as you were growing up? Is it something that you just learned as time went on?
A bit of both. A bit of both is there's so many stereotypes of who we are, what we do, and how we present ourselves. But only when you live there that you know.
Or are you being a Scouser?
Yeah.
Do you have a purple bin?
I have a purple bin. I'm a
See,
proper
I told
Scouser.
you.
I'm a proper
Here
Scouser.
you go. I told you. Do you have a purple bin?
I don't have a purple. I have a maroon bin. I've told you that.
No, we've just answered the.
But I was born and brought up in Bolton. We had grey bins.
That's not purple though, is it?
Yeah,
Purple
but
bins are for the city of Liverpool.
City of Liverpool. So they're City of Liverpool.
You know how much
Come.
trouble that used to cause in our thingy? Because I used to say to Tom, Tom used to say something. I used to say, Tom, you're not even a Scouser. Your bin's not even. You've got grey and brown bins. You're not even a Scouser. I'm a Scouser. Don't tell me.
Gonna bought one, Annie.
Yeah.
So you two come from the same school. You're not a Scouser unless you've got a purple bin.
Yeah.
I'm not from that school. I think if you're from the Merseyside area, then you're all right.
Well, let some people in, but having a purple bin's a lot.
Well, there you go. Well, if that's a definitive way to finish this podcast, I think it's probably a conversation that can keep going in comments, etc., etc. But it's been wonderful to speak to you today. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and all the best for what's to come over the next few months and years.
Cheers.
You're an icon and a legend for all of us, so keep going.
Like yourself. Nice one. Thank you.
Thank you.